We just got back from our summer vacation and we stayed on the shore in a small hotel room that had a small table. So it got me thinking about good games to recommend, Euro games that would fit on a small table. Table that we have here is our normal table that we play games on. It's about 3.5 by 5 foot wide. And so we can fit any of our games on it pretty easily. So I thought it might be nice to share some recommended Euros that you could play on a small table. I'm thinking of more of like a 30-inch by 30-inch square. So let me get started. First up, we have Tiny Epic Dinos. So this is a worker placement game. The board here is made up of cards, and then you have a larger format card for your own player board. The pieces are quite small and the footprint is quite small. So this is one that I recommend. Next up is Bamboo. So Bamboo is a game by the designer of Bitoku. And it's a tile laying game, but it's got an interesting mechanism where you're growing bamboo. It's kind of like an action selection mechanism where you're growing the bamboo and getting different colored bamboo to basically take other actions and to power up your actions. But this one has a small central board. It's in a small box here. This would do well to fit on a table that size. All right. So next up is one of my favorite games is Red Cathedral. So Red Cathedral is a dice rondel game, dice drafting, where you're moving dice around and collecting resources, and then you're spending resources to build the Red Cathedral, which are on these cards. And so it's kind of a contract fulfillment game, but it's built around this dice rondel. It has a rather small main board, and there's some cards for the cathedral that you build up, and you have player boards yourself, but they're quite small. Anyway, I highly recommend this game. This game's wonderful. Okay. Next up, we have Suna Valo. So Suna Valo is not exact. It's in the same world as Planta Nubo, which also came out from the same company. This is a two-player only game. Oh, two-player and solo actually, and I have played it solo. It's good. But this is it's like a card drafting game where you're trying to build cards into your tableau to trigger benefits and score points and collect different bonuses and fulfill contracts, gain resources. What's interesting about this game is that you set the price of the cards, and your opponent can buy the cards from you, or you can pay the price that you set to get those cards yourself. So it's a really interesting two-player game. Highly recommend this one. Okay. This one will fit easily too. So this is Broom Service. This was designed by Alexander Pfister and Andreas Pelikan. This is a very interactive game, and it's a Euro game. It has a small main game board, but you have no boards yourself. You just have a set of cards and some resources that you collect. This is a really interesting game. Definitely for more than 2 players, plays up to 5, and I recommend it at the max player count if you can. And you could squeeze around the small table and play this. Okay. Next up is one of our favorite games. This is Tribes of the Wind. So Tribes of the Wind plays up to 5 players, but we play it almost exclusively at 2, and I think it's probably best at 2. So this is a game where you're playing cards, and you'll have different fulfillments on the cards to gain resources or to take actions based on the cards that your neighbors have. When you play in a 3, 4, 5-player game, you look at your 2 neighbors' cards, and those are the cards that you reference. When you play in a 2-player game, the central display deck that you draw out of becomes one of your neighbors. And the thing that makes it really great at 2 players is, aside from the lack of downtime and the fact that it plays quickly, is that you can manipulate one of your neighbors by drafting cards and taking cards back out of that with intent. So this is a really great game. Highly recommend it. Tribes of the Wind. Okay, let's see. All right, so next up is Ginkgopolis. Ginkgopolis just has a central board that's made out of tiles, And this is mostly an area control game, but it includes some amount of engine building. So on your turn, you draft cards and you choose a card and or a tile to play, and you're going to be building these tiles or building engines and trying to vie for area control. There's also the tiles build on top of each other, so there's like a three-dimensional height aspect of it as well. This is a really solid game. I know it was out of print for a really long time, but Pearl Games reprinted it a couple years ago, so we're able to pick it up. But I think they're maybe no longer around, so if you see it, you might want to give it a try. All right. Next up, this is a lighter family game, but I really do like Cytosis, and it's an excellent worker placement game. Plays probably 1 to 5 players. It's 2 to 5. There's no solo mode. But it plays 2 to 5 players. There's a 2-player side of the board. This is the second edition that has some like a second board on the back for 2 players. But essentially you're using your flask to take actions. It's a worker placement game, and you're carrying out the actions, the processes of like cells. And so you're gaining these resources, and you kind of have this like multi-stage contract fulfillment where you're doing these different transformations in different parts of the cell. It's a really interesting game. I really like this game. It is educational, but it is still a really solid Euro. Next up is, I haven't played this in a while, but it's one of my favorites. This is Clans of Caledonia. So Clans of Caledonia feels a bit like Terra Mystica, or Gaia Project's has a little bit more going on, but almost like a Terra Mystica type game with a variable market for buying and selling resources. So in Clans of Caledonia, you have your player board, and you're basically paying to put your pieces out on the board, and they're producing resources, and then you're getting those resources to fulfill contracts and to score points and to kind of spread out onto the board. This is a really, really solid game, and definitely worth a try. It comes in a relatively thin box, which is nice. The game board is quite small, and the player boards are very small. This is also, I think, the first printing, which had even smaller player boards than the second printing. But this is a great one that I recommend. And the last one, this is really a caveat in that it's for 2 players. But we were able to play ants down the shore, fitted on that 30 by 30 square table. So the reason we were able to do this is the main board is a puzzle board, and it's a wide but thin board. And your player boards are also not that big. They're a little bit wider, but not very tall. And you don't need to, you play cards, but you can just kind of stick them off to the side. So you are able to fit this and play this on a small square table. And this game is excellent. We've played it twice now, once with the intro game and then once with the queen tiles that give you some kind of variability. And we're looking into to exploring it more because this game is really great. It's one of the best ones that I've played this year. Okay, so that's it. That is 10 games that you could fit on a small table, Euro games, that I highly recommend. And if you found this useful, please consider subscribing. I'd like to put out some more videos, some more recommendations in the future, and hopefully you enjoy this content. All right, thank you.